Welcome back to another episode of Law Supplies Last, the marketing podcast where we explore all things business and marketing. I'm Matt Nelson, owner and founder of Peachtree Rose Marketing, where we use modern marketing tactics like search engine optimization and answer engine optimization, coupled with content marketing strategies like video podcasting to help small to mid-sized businesses scale. Last episode, we explored the depths of omni-channel marketing for small business, and if you missed it, be sure and tune in after this episode. Today, we're going to get into the best marketing strategies for restaurants. But while this episode is dedicated to the marketing best practices in the restaurant industry, any small business can employ these same tactics to help grow quickly. So stick with us because we're going to get into topics like how AI is used in the restaurant industry and how restaurants can use guerrilla marketing tactics to help grow quickly. In this episode, I got to interview Mr. Albion Zogaj, best known as Albi from Albi's Vitae Italian Kitchen in Leon Springs, Texas, one of 2 locations in the San Antonio area. While he's known as an amazing restaurant owner and operator, many others have noticed how well he executes his social media strategy. But what folks may not know is that he's a marketing genius who has leveraged his knowledge from the McComb School of Business at the University of Texas at Austin, coupled with his years of experience in the family business of making Italian cuisine that is absolutely to die for. Stick with us and take notes because this is going to be an episode for the books. Today, we're getting into the best of restaurant marketing, and I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Albion Zogaj of Albi's Vitae, one of 2 locations. Albi, how can folks best connect with you or Albi's Vitae?
Hey, everybody. Yes, definitely connect with me. Our Instagram, Albi's Vitae, is the best. Otherwise, you can email me at albisvitae@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the studio, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm so happy to be here.
Right on. So tell us a little bit about your background. I know you're a restaurant owner. I've been to Albi's. It's one of you've said it before, in Leon Springs, Texas, just north of San Antonio. It's one of the best local spots. It's a family spot. It's my daughter's favorite restaurant.
That's awesome.
But tell us a little bit more about your background outside of just the restaurant stuff.
Yes. So I got 2 sides of me. It's my restaurant background, which I grew up within, and then it's my educational background, which is at UT Austin, where I graduated with marketing. So I love marketing. I love digital marketing. I've been doing it for a very long time as well. So I kind of, married the 2 together, and now, we are steadily growing.
Awesome, man. Yeah. And that's actually the first thing that came up on my radar. Instagram. I saw your content on Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's cool. They hired some guy, and I didn't realize you were the restaurant owner. Yeah. And the first time I went to the restaurant, one of the things that stuck out to me as well, and you kind of talked about this on one of your recent podcasts on The More You Know, The Better It Tastes with Susie and Alan from San Antonio Restaurants. But you had mentioned, you know how to cook everything in your restaurant, which I thought was awesome.
100%.
But the thing that I noticed as a consumer, because I didn't know that before, being in the restaurant, I think you greeted me and my family at the front, and you sat us down at the table, and you guys were super busy one day. And I can remember you hopped down and you were doing some bartending stuff. You also brought out some breads. You were everywhere doing everything.
Any restaurant owner listening right now is like, yeah, of course he did.
100%.
Yes, sir, he did.
Yeah, well, what stuck out to me was the ownership mindset, and you're just very humble about it. You wouldn't have known you were the owner. Just in that scenario, you were just very attentive, Mm-hmm. And I thought that was so telling. But from a business mindset, very parallel. I know how to operate everything. I know how to do most of the stuff, at least 80%. And then I have someone who's better than me for a lot of things marketing. Mm-hmm. But I think that's so crucial. And a lot of business owners in general may feel like they have to do everything. And they don't necessarily have to do everything, but at least know how to do everything.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? So, and it definitely goes into all aspects of business. It does not have to be the restaurant industry. But my mother and my cousin and everybody who told me, they're like, Albi, you want to open up a restaurant? Get your butt in that kitchen and learn everything. I'm not saying you have to be the chef, but you better know how to at least know how to make every single dish, just in case. And trust me, there have been cases. So I think it's crucial personally to know every aspect of your business, so that way no one has an upper hand over you as well. I don't want to be put in a position where I can't make a decision freely. So it is a good feeling knowing how to do everything. But you hit the nail on the head. The chefs I currently have working are much better than I am. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the best chef in the world, but I at least know what's going on.
Awesome. And you have a strong background, obviously, with the family dynamic. I got to listen in and hear about some of the background. You got to work in the kitchen. You got to work throughout. And I love the story where you're talking about on the last podcast. You're talking about one of the chefs you ended up hiring. I think before you went to school, you actually worked at that restaurant. You have like a selfie or something
It's
of the two of y'all.
hilarious.
It's pretty cool backstory.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I worked for an Italian restaurant, and I was just at first I was a busboy, then I was a server, then I was a manager. But during that whole thing, the chef there, me and him got super close, and I have selfies with him and stuff. And now he's my head chef at the 410 and Evers location, so it's pretty cool.
Very, very cool. Yeah. And you got some background in cooking with Noli, right?
Yeah,
your cousin?
My cousin Noli and Lindy. They own Noli's Vitae, which has 2 locations, one in New Braunfels, one in Cibolo. They're amazing people, and they know what they're doing as well. So
very cool.
They taught me everything.
And then you've also had some experience on the academic side, and it's pretty cool because I hear a lot of people who may go for a degree and they say, I didn't really need that. I got it from my experience. But the content that I've seen you make, number one, you're proud of your alma mater. And then I've also seen that you kind of marry the two. You learned some stuff and you leverage that as well.
Yeah. My father is a PhD from Germany. He is a microbiologist. And my mother has a doctorate from Kosovo, and she worked with chromosome 18 research before joining the restaurant business. So they told me, how important education is, and I saw it firsthand. So I am not one of those people that are like, oh, no, you don't need education. Like, I don't think you need education to be successful, but I'm not going to sit here and say my time at UT was useless. I loved everything about it, and I loved my professors, and I loved what I learned.
Very cool. So talk to me a little bit about what you learned from the marketing perspective.
100%. So I went to Red McCombs, and they have some amazing professors. Professor Gabby is one of them, and he taught me a lot about, it's this element of, my favorite element within marketing is choosing who you are and then making sure the branding with every little thing aligns with who you've chosen to be. I struggled with that tremendously in the beginning. I remember there were days at Albi's Vitae when we first started where we would do Calamari Tuesday, which is free calamari on Tuesdays, but we also would have a sommelier walking around trying to sell wine. So it's like, who are we? Are we the neighborhood spot? Are we a fancy restaurant? It just did not make sense. Our branding was way off. So I had to really do some deep thinking. I'm like, who are we? What's our identity and stuff like that. And now I've chosen like, okay, you know what? Yes, we are the neighborhood spot. We are the people that brings families together. We are the people that get to know who you are. And every little detail within my restaurant, every decision I make has to align with that vision. Otherwise, I reject it.
Love it, man. I didn't prep this one in terms of scripting or anything. Again, this is probably going to be dynamic. We'll hit a couple of things. So as a restaurant owner, talking about branding and how important that is, that everything kind of aligns. Is there anything that you do with your staff? And I know sometimes in the restaurant industry, there can be some turnover, but is there anything that you try to do to impart that on your staff as you're going throughout your operations?
Yes, we've actually created systems in place to achieve this identity of being the neighborhood spot. So hopefully some restaurant owners and other business owners can get some value from this. But one thing we've done is our hostess will always ask, as they're seating the guest, have you been here before? And then we utilize that information. Let's say they say, yes, we have. We utilize that information when the hostess lets the server know. So let's say the hostess goes up to the server and says, hey, you have a table. It's, that table over there. By the way, they're regulars. So they convey the information. Now, when the server goes to the table to greet, they say, guys, welcome back. It's good to see you.
Love that.
They use that phrase. So now all of a sudden the guest is like, are you kidding me? This restaurant knows we've been here before. Even the server knows. So we've created that system in place to create this feeling, this brand identity. So even the staff is able to create the identity, not just myself.
So would you kind of say, if you had to wordsmith it, that a big part of your branding is the personalization aspect?
For Albi's Vitae, yes. Yeah. Yes. I think we could have gone another route and had different systems in place, but for what we've chosen to do, yes.
I would say it works well. And one of the things that, it's a popular spot, like in Leon. So if anybody, is coming out of like San Antonio and you're looking to get, a better Italian spot that's not in like San Antonio proper, head north on I-10 to Leon Springs. just north of kind of the Dominion area. There's an H-E-B right there. You guys are literally connected to the H-E-B.
That's right.
You'll notice it's a pop-in spot. It's always busy in a good way. And from the consumer side, like it's not busy as in like you're having to wait outside. You don't feel like it's busy.
Yeah.
But you guys are turning over some good business.
Yeah, no, we've been great and very thankful. The 410 and Evers location, my mother is running the show, and she's also doing an excellent job. Yeah, we've been very fortunate, and we are looking to scale. We're looking to open up another one, God willing. So we'll see.
Very cool. Yeah, we'll see, man. Yeah. Looking forward to it. So, tell me a little bit. So, you guys have been open for a little over 2 years now, right?
Yep, that's right. 2 years
during COVID.
Yeah, we opened our first location 5 years ago in 2020.
Okay.
During COVID. And that one was insane. I mean, I was doing Zoom classes because I still hadn't finished school, and then going and refilling drinks.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But then once I graduated and stuff and I started figuring out the business, my mother was like, listen, why don't you have your own spot so that you can really focus in on what you do best? So we got Leon Springs 2 years ago.
Very cool. Very cool. Albi, tell me, 2 years in, bring it back to the early days of the Leon Springs location from a marketing perspective, and talk to me about some of those challenges and what you went through.
100%. Our marketing was in a little bit of a tough spot when we first opened because we didn't know how we wanted to market. We knew our identity, but we didn't know, which mediums to focus on, and 2, how frequently should we be posting, 3, should we be doing paid advertising or, just hopefully the algorithm hits it, or 4, like what exactly should I be posting that people will enjoy? We had a lot of questions and not enough action. I think a lot of people, a lot of businesses kind of face this challenge. And so I decided, I was like, you know what, I am just going to start posting. And I was making video. If you scroll down on our feed, your thumb might start hurting, but scroll all the way down, you're going to see the videos that I used to make when I first started. They were not high quality. They didn't even have any particular message, no call to action, no real reason to watch it. But the best part about it is I was consistent. And so as I was consistent, I was like, you know what? This random video did better than all the others. Why? And then you start just figuring it out. And I know everybody gives this advice, but honestly, it's the best advice, is just allow yourself to make mistakes, allow yourself to just post and then see which way you can go. Right now, we are in a position to where we have a schedule. Like every Monday, I go and shoot, and I have a person that's dedicated to posting and a person dedicated to recording. So I feel more comfortable today than I did 2 years ago, but I wouldn't have gotten to where I was today without posting what I did 2 years ago.
So what I'm hearing as a big message on that one, especially for newer restaurant owners or business owners in general, is get past the analysis paralysis. Just do it and maintain some sort of a rhythm. And as you see some traction, start to take note of what's working.
100%.
And I am one of those guys. Literally last night, I scrolled and I'm familiar with the brand, and I'm an Instagram follower, and you're everywhere else too. But like Instagram's my go-to for a lot of y'all's video content. But like I did scroll down to the bottom, and I did see some of the original stuff that was in probably CapCut. That kind of stuff.
100%. I'm pretty sure I had CapCut free version where you could see CapCut at the end.
You get some words coming off the screen, and that's okay. Like just get it out there and get started. Yeah. And a lot of your content, there's that personalization aspect. I love as a business owner that you're showing up in the content too, because you do see your face when you go to the restaurant. So as a consumer, it's like there's already brand awareness baked into that too, which is really cool. I thought some of your short form video content that really resonated and popped off. Some of the stuff that stood out to me is when you've got some local community tie-in. There were 2 in particular, and I forget his name. I'll add it in the comments. I think he does some stuff related to local barbershops and helping them out. But
Jacob,
he does
Drip Like Jay. Jacob,
yes, Drip Like Jay.
100%.
So at Drip Like Jay on Instagram, he came in at least twice and was like, "Hey, let me drop $500. I think you comped at least one of them. You gave some awesome discounts and some awesome value. And together, y'all went out and you had some content about giving food to the homeless. And I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was a great one. And we had such a good time doing that. And that video did pretty well. But, we were also able to help the community, which was awesome.
That was a big part.
And that's a great point. And something I've recently learned for digital marketing is the power of collabs. So we just collabed with UTSH here. We've collabed with Red McCombs Business School. We have some collabs, cooking at the moment that we're trying to create. Our goal right now is to have one collab a month.
Nice.
Because you share those followers, you share those viewerships, and then who knows who might see it that's like, oh, I actually want to follow this account now. So collabs is huge. I'm grateful that that's a feature, and yeah, we're definitely putting a lot of emphasis.
Yeah, I love Instagram under Meta, for its ability to do collabs. I wish every platform had that feature because I think it's so powerful to be able to do that. I know, like if you think TikTok as an algorithm and social media, it was like the first one that really valued not necessarily the network, but the content itself in terms of the algorithm. But I love the power of bringing and bridging and inheriting audiences across different networks and the power of that collab. And I was going to bring up the cheerleader one as well because that one I saw got some massive traction very recently.
Yeah, that one hit 20,000 views on Instagram.
Definitely popped pretty well. And a lot of that is all just having that network, that collab. So talk to me a little bit about some out-of-the-box stuff. What are some things that you did outside of, just consistently posting on social media, getting your brand awareness aligned? What are some other outside-of-the-box strategies or tactics you used as a restaurant owner to get some traction?
Amazing question, and I think about that question every day. Like we both love digital marketing, so I'm always thinking, like, what can I do that like no one else is doing? So I got a good one for your viewers and you. Yeah. I think you're gonna like this. What I started doing was I started DMing micro-influencers. So micro-influencers are just, people that have maybe 1,000, 5,000, 3,000 followers that aren't necessarily getting a lot of brand deals, aren't necessarily looking to get a lot of brand deals, but if they come across one, they might say yes. So I DM people in this category and I say, listen, what do you say I give you a $50 gift card to try my restaurant in exchange for a story post, 24-hour story post? And they go crazy. Like, oh my God, yes, I was going to come anyway. I was like, this perfect. So we got a lot of those people to do it. They come in, they're local, and now let's say they get, 400 or 500 views on their story. They tag us, they follow us, and all I paid was a $50 gift card, which minus costs and stuff, it's not really $50, right? Because I don't pay $50 for it. So that's a really cool guerrilla marketing tactic I've been doing, is allowing micro-influencers to post us in exchange for something that's not too expensive.
Very cool. Yeah, that was awesome. And I've seen on a lot of your accounts, your profiles for the restaurant, I've seen leveraging not just micro-influencers but bigger influencers, especially in the local community. Everybody from Chris Flores, Eat Migos, the former chief taco officer, I think, for HEB. Now he's chief tasting officer, and he has other business things going on too. Lexi Hazlitt, probably butchering the names here, but that's fine. So that's been pretty cool to see how people have just kind of come into that in that community too.
100%.
But so DMing some of the local micro influencers, that's a good one. Have you ever used SMS or text-based communication for marketing?
I just put out a text blast.
Nice.
Today, this morning.
Very cool.
I sent it to 5,000 people. Cost me $390, so about $400. So I pay about like 4 cents or something per text. I don't know. I got to check the numbers. But I use a platform called Textalent, but they have a lot of softwares out there that can do it. I send out a mass text that said, hey, everybody, BOGO Albi shrimp this week only. Buy one, get one free. And I just checked right before I got on this podcast, and we've already had like 8 people order the BOGO, and it's been like an hour and a half.
Very cool.
So texting is SMS marketing, huge. It's a little bit more expensive than email marketing, but you get far more eyes.
Yeah, and I looked at it, and it looks like on average, it has about a 98% open rate as compared to email marketing. Yeah. And email marketing is one of the best traditional, non-traditional, forms of digital marketing from a sense of return on investment, cost per acquisition, things like that. But your your blast, your text blast out to about 5,000 people, you said?
Right.
Now, all of those 5,000 are obviously, you say warm leads from a marketing perspective.
Yes, these are people that have signed up for texting from us.
Yeah, so they're already familiar with which keeps you in compliance, of course, too.
Right.
But they're already familiar with your brand, which is, again, that's phenomenal. I know you're going to get a lot more than 8 out of that, too.
Yeah, it just started. We're hoping that it
So
blows out of the water.
the other thing that stuck out to me that you said, you have a sense of urgency in that message. Unpack that offer for me, if you will, from a marketing perspective for our viewers.
First things first, high value in my opinion. Buy one, get one free Albi shrimp. That's $21 value because my Albi shrimp is $21. Second, this week only, right? So they're like, well, I wasn't going to go to Albi's this week, but okay. Well, why would I go next week if I can just get the Albi shrimp right now, right? So a little bit of urgency there. Easy. I think it's very easy to redeem the offer. We have a link in there that takes to the online ordering site. You click that link. First thing you see is, add 2 Albi shrimp to your cart. So like we made it very easy for the customer to go through and purchase it. And then we have a lot of analytics. That's the fourth step. So we have it integrated with our POS system, which is Toast. So I can see how much sales it's driving, how much traffic is driving to the website. So that way I can see, okay, I paid $390, but it provided $3,000 in revenue minus all COGS. Yes, it was profitable.
Very cool, very cool. And the return on investment is definitely going to be there for sure. Yeah. And you breezed over it, and I just happened to know because we had talked about it and I've heard good things. So your POS system as a restaurant is Toast. You had an experience, not downing the equipment or anything, but you had someone on your staff broke the machine, yes. Right? And tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Toast is a POS system for restaurants, and they, like everything else, you drop it on a concrete floor, it might get some damage. And so, it had some wear and tear, and the card reader stopped working, and it wasn't working as well. So I go on Toast.com like a reasonable consumer and see if I can get a free replacement, considering I use Toast and I pay a lot of money to Toast. And they said, nope, purchase it full price. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem that fair considering I'm spending money each month on the software as well, $50 a month per unit. So I was a little bit, surprised by that and went on Google to look for a case. So I was like, well, at least the other ones, I don't want to have to deal with the same thing. Lo and behold, there were no cases for them. So I called up my Harvard MBA best friend, Michael, and I said, brother, what are we going to do about this? And he said, I'm on it. 2 months later, we get a shipment of 3,000 cases to my door. And now we have a website called restaurantarmor.com. And we sell cases, silicone cases for Toast handheld devices. And we might have cases for other devices. If we get inquiries for them, we can do that as well. But yeah, right now it's just Toast.
Awesome. And we'll have a link in the description as well for our viewers. If you're using Toast as a POS and you want a better way to protect that, and you've already been on eBay or whatever else is out there, Amazon, trying to look for a case, there's already a solution for that. So we'll make sure that we've got that link in there too.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So Guerrilla Marketing. So I had to look up because I don't have any restaurant clients right now, which makes sense. To me, I'm putting this out there. If you're a restaurant owner, think and scrutinize very much before you go out and hire, a marketing or an ad agency, only because I think, very thin margins industry-wide, and you have to safeguard, your capital, fiscal capital pretty preciously. But one of the things that I looked up, because I'm not as familiar, was on the guerrilla marketing side, reverse food delivery stunt. Have you ever heard of this?
What's that?
Okay, so unexpected restaurant marketing tactics. So the most out-of-the-box thing that you could possibly do, right, in my opinion, so delivering free food to an unconventional location unexpectedly. So like as a restaurant, as if it was the wrong delivery. Oh, wrong address. Well, would you like some? And you create some content out of that and create some buzz. Now, I love your social media content, but I thought that one pretty much stuck out to me as well.
That could be a hit.
Yeah, it could be, right? It'd be kind of cool. Even if it was just somebody's, home address, or a business. Well, business would be good, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe
like
get a
that.
ringer someone in the crowd or someone at the place to be ready with, to film some content, third-party perspective. But I thought that one would be pretty good.
Yeah.
So what are some other, unexpected or unconventional marketing strategies that you could think of?
Well, I haven't done exactly that.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that's a great one. But I have went and donated free food, and they come back and order, 2-3 times. So we went to a church and we said, guys, let us donate, please. And they said, yeah, of course. And they said, but it's 200 people, right? And that's very expensive. So we chucked out a lot of money to do this free donation. And everybody in my staff was like, Albi, what is wrong with you? That's so much that you're giving.
Yeah.
And I said, guys, let's just be patient. Lo and behold, that same church has ordered 8 times afterwards. And that's 200 people we're talking about. Because it's nobody has that kind of kindness or act of kindness, to donate that much. So they want to pay it forward. They want to pay it back. And so it was one of the best decisions I've made in terms of,
Yeah, ROI, return on investment.
Exactly.
You definitely getting a lot of value there. If people are coming back that often. Have you ever used, just curious and kind of a pivot in the digital realm? We're in 2025 at the time of this recording. AI has come a long way. Just the consumer available AI in the past 2 years. Have you been able to leverage, or are you interested in leveraging AI in any way in terms of your marketing?
100%. AI, I read about AI every day. I have one of my routines is to go and look up AI news and see what's going on, because every day it's just a new software that you're like, what? It can do that. And probably in a year I'm going to listen to this and be like, oh my gosh, if only you knew, because who knows what's going to happen. But we use AI a lot. We have an AI company called Loman AI. Shout out to them. They handle all my calls. So
Nice.
if you call my restaurant, you're going to hear the AI system. It's amazing. We use AI for idea generation. I think everyone does, or not everyone, but I think everyone should do that. You have an idea, you just spit it into ChatGPT and say, what do you think about this? And all of a sudden it gives you some other ideas, and maybe it allows you to dive a little deeper. There's, video creation, image generation, everything. I love it.
So your brand is, we talked about personalization and how crucial that is, in your brand with the restaurant, and kind of building those connections in the community, making people feel like they are known, this is their spot, they're at home kind of. But talking about AI and talking about video, what are your thoughts on personalized, maybe it's an email or a text message where you've got a video of, maybe it's you, maybe it's somebody that someone's familiar with in the restaurant, and they're literally saying, hey, Albi, thanks so much for coming in last, whenever, right? And it's just a message saying, hope to see you again soon. Something that simple, but it's personalized because it's got the, their first name, it's got the date they came in, like last Wednesday, whatever the case is, just wanted to say thank you. I think that would be phenomenal.
Gosh.
And it's totally doable, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that I love the idea of, because you can also automate it. Business owners are busy. You know?
Man.
It's in the name. So having something to be personalized and automated could go a long way. And I'm actually going to look into that. I don't do that right now. I think that's very powerful.
Yeah. So I know the capabilities there. I don't think anybody's doing it on a mass and automated scale.
Yeah.
Because if you just take a one or two sentence video of the owner, AI and video AI platforms are powerful enough to where you can pretty much script it, and you've got a personified image of that business owner, and you can make them speak. I've done it with myself, and I'm multilingual. I speak Spanish and Mandarin, but I did it for myself just to see what it would sound like, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me speaking Spanish. That's exactly how I sound. How did it do that?
Wow.
And the mouth is moving perfectly and everything. So
That's so cool.
with that capability, there is a way to do it in mass, and I think that would be a complete game changer for restaurants.
Oh my gosh. You got my head going. So after they visit, we automated to a couple days later send out a video of me thanking them. God,
even a week later, hey man, hope you enjoyed the whatever it is. It depends on, obviously how in depth your analytics are and being able to track certain things, but I think that would be powerful.
100%.
But, speaking and pivoting away from AI a little bit, and we'll circle back, I'm sure, analytics. What analytics to you from a marketing lens as a restaurant owner are most important?
Analytics allow you to probably create better decisions in the future. I think that's what my biggest reason to look at analytics is. So from a digital marketing perspective, I kind of touched on it earlier, but every time we post, so we post every 3 days. Maybe it should be a little bit more frequent, but right now we're only posting every 3 days. And every Monday when I get together with my social media manager, we run through our previous 6 videos. We're like, all right, what were the 6? I want to see the analytics on each one.
Nice.
What was the viewership rate? What was the follower to non-follower viewership rate, right? Mm-hmm. Because if non-followers are not watching it, there's an issue.
Yeah.
So what was the time before they skipped away? It was only 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Do we need to start making our videos more engaging somehow? Is our text too big? We look at the videos and say, this video did the best and it had this characteristic. None of the other videos had that characteristic. Let's do this more. So, we're using our analytics to drive our decision making. And now, we're still not where we want to be. I'm not even at 10K followers on Instagram. So
yeah, I think you'll be there soon. Just the route you're headed, for sure.
But, so I'm not saying I know everything, but from our growth pattern at the moment, it's been steady and growing because I think we look at our analytics and choose what people want to see.
And I think for many, not just restaurant owners, but business owners in general, I think they'll be surprised, that you guys go that in depth and on a frequent basis, with your social media manager, because not enough people do that. They definitely don't look at it on a frequent and regular systematized basis, and they definitely don't look that in depth. And it's those little tiny things that you just tweak something and get a little bit more viewership or a little bit more retention, and that's just new customer acquisition for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
awesome.
That's what these big platforms want. They want to see an account that people stay on, right? Like if someone watches my full video, Instagram's going to be like, oh, that's a good video. Like that, those viewers are sticking around. And, it's important to know whether they're sticking around or not. You have all that information available on your insights.
Yeah. And we do, so obviously the podcast, video podcasting is kind of our flagship. We're a full service marketing agency. We do search engine optimization, social media, stuff like that. But a lot of our stuff is based around video. And, you talk short form video on platforms like Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, watch time, and average watch time as a percentage for your viewers is arguably the biggest metric that's most important for these video platforms. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. Talk to me a little bit more about your process in terms of creation. I know ChatGPT, if you're a business in 2025 and you're not somehow using, doesn't have to be ChatGPT if you want to use Gemini or whatever else. If you're not using AI, some sort of chat AI to at least brainstorm at minimum, I think you're really going to lose out pretty quick. But outside of just that, talk to me a little bit more about your creation process for, let's say, social media.
Right. So this is also still a work in progress, but this is kind of our system at the moment. One thing is our collabs, it's kind of natural. We look at all right, who are we collabing with? UTSA cheerleaders. Okay, what would be fun? Well, it'd be fun if they were cheering me on while cooking. So some stuff kind of comes obvious. Our particular niche is fun, not so serious, make people enjoy watching it, our videos. Yes, we're a restaurant, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. We just want you to enjoy our content. That's just the niche we chose. We very well could have chosen all ambiance, all food, and just make it gorgeous. And I still think that would do amazing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that approach. It's just we didn't choose it. We chose the fun approach because I just had a better time with it, and it resonated with me and the brand a little bit more. So some of them come natural. Mm-hmm. Yes, we do use ChatGPT. We're like, hey, what kind of fun ideas would work this month? What's trending right now? AI has research ability now, so it can go in and use the internet, scour the internet for what's trending, what's new. Also, we get inspiration a lot of the times. If, I'm being transparent, there are videos that you check on my Instagram, like, oh, I've seen other people do that. Well, what's wrong with that? That's the trend. if you follow a trend, then obviously it's a trend for a reason, right? People are wanting to watch that at the particular time. So we try to be kind of early on the trends. If we notice like, hey, this is popping off, this particular sound or this particular concept, we try to recreate it because people really tend to enjoy watching that particular style at that time.
Sure.
So yeah, we do a lot of that, but still, to be honest, it's a work in progress. I do want to create, one of my goals for 2025 is a little bit more of a personalized touch, organic stuff. Like maybe we can create the trend this year, you know? So
Yeah,
maybe
for sure.
maybe we can get some content like no one's seen before. I think that would be great. But right now, that's kind of what we do.
And it's working. Yeah, the trajectory is definitely popping off. So psychology in marketing. You mentioned it a little bit in like your today's text SMS campaign. You got a sense of urgency. There's a deadline. So I think scarcity and urgency are worth mentioning, in particular for restaurant owners from a marketing perspective. Any thoughts on that?
Definitely. We do that often. We have like happy hour, ends at 6, and honestly, we are pretty tough on it. You know, once it's like 6:20 and someone says, please, can I do it? It's like, no, I'm sorry. You know, and guess what? They come back next week and they make sure they hit the happy hour. You know, so some things we're not lenient on just because we want to create that kind of feeling of scarcity and urgency. But yeah, we think it's important, and we think that the restaurant business, and there's other businesses like this as well, but it's a nice one because every day people are going to be hungry, you know? So you can employ a lot of psychological, marketing tactics that will work, because if you can get someone to come and eat today, it's very important because they can also come next week, then the week after that. But you want them to come today because today they're going to be hungry. That's kind of how I see it. So if I can get a person to come in 25 times in 1 year versus 15 times in 1 year because of my digital marketing, because of my urgency and my scarcity tactics and every other tactic, that's great. That's 10 more times that they came in and gave us revenue. Of course, we're hoping that they had a great experience. Otherwise, they'll never come back. So we do our part. And that's, you can never let go of that. But it's important, especially when you have a business that people come back for.
For sure. So Albi's Vitae is, an Italian-based kitchen, right? You've got some things that are not Italian as well, or just pretty much 100% Italian?
We are Italian-focused. We have some pizzas that maybe have been Americanized.
Okay.
Some fun stuff like barbecue chicken. Some stuff that people love. We've created some pizzas. We got like pig and fig with arugula and prosciutto and stuff like that. Yeah, so good
Just
stuff.
heard about that one, and I was like, man, my wife's got to try this.
Yeah, it's amazing. Ooh, it's so good.
It sounds legit.
We use our famous lemon butter as the base.
Oh, man, because that stuff is amazing on the shrimp, so it's got to be good on the pizza,
so
too.
good.
Yeah, man. So as an Italian restaurant, I think there's an association and correlation in most consumers' mind that, it's an elevated dining experience. And I know when I've been to Albi's Vitae, you get that feel, it's an elevated experience. But at the same time, as a restaurant owner, you've got to face that sense of, do they just want to come every once in a while versus all the time? Was that a part of the inspiration in bringing in some other foods, like the more Americanized, like the
Yes.
pizzas and stuff?
I mean, everything was thought about. So our price point, if we're a relatively competitive price point, we're a little bit more affordable than some of our competitors.
Yeah.
And the thought behind it was, well, we want people to come back every week. How are we going to be the neighborhood spot if our prices don't dictate that?
Yeah.
Our happy hour, you get one of our pizzas for $10. So
$10 pizzas, $5 wine, right?
You know it.
Yeah, that's legit.
So we do that because it's like, wait. We want them to come every week. We want to know their names. So we have to provide a product that allows for that. So if we were having, chicken Parmesan at $35, it could be the best chicken Parmesan ever, and it would work, but we would not have regulars that come in every week, maybe every month.
So it's a way of, in a sense, strategically increasing your customer lifetime value.
Right.
For an investment of happy hour.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
And obviously, you have to look at your cost structure to make sure it works. For us, it happened to work. But also it just depends on the demographic. I looked at the Leon Springs location and said happy hour is essential. I mean, people are begging for it. When we opened, we didn't have happy hour because we didn't know how important it was in that location. People were coming to me like, hey, you're going to fail if you don't have a happy hour. Like that's the message I was getting. Well, guess what? I was like, oh, let's do it at the 410 and Evers location as well. We opened that up and no one ever asked for it. No one ever ordered from it. And we were like, okay, well, that's not necessary. What do we have to do at the 410 and Evers location? We started doing Kids Eat Free on Thursdays, Family Day. Now our Thursdays, you can't even get a spot because people love the Family Day aspect. That doesn't work in Leon Springs. You see? So it's just like the demographic, the people told us what that particular location needed. And we're flexible enough to listen to the people, which is nice.
Very cool. How do you solicit that from your customers? Or literally just having a conversation one-on-one with people? Or
We do a lot of one-on-one conversation. Me, myself, I listen to a lot of the people, what they have to say. You have to be careful, because like everyone has an opinion and you can't do what everyone says. But you hear it enough and the servers tell you enough. And obviously for different industries, however you can get your feedback, you see comments on YouTube, you'll know what to do. I personally feel like once you start getting an audience, they'll tell you what's best.
Very cool. Very cool. So you mentioned you have, if you call the restaurant, you have a service that leverages AI capability. Is that to make a reservation?
Make a reservation, place a to-go order, transfer you to the right person, everything. I can ask you, who's Albi? It'll tell you who I am.
Yeah, we have, so our kids, and again, my daughter loves the restaurant. That's her favorite restaurant anywhere around San Antonio.
That's nice.
And it happens to be right down the street for us, so it works out well. But, both of our kids have, some allergy considerations. And I know my wife and I both of us have called. We were able to speak with a live human who was able to talk with us and stuff. So what's that look like when someone calls in? How do they end up getting to the AI system?
Right. So it immediately goes to the AI system. Of course, you can be like, hey, I want to talk to a real person. Immediately transfers to the restaurant. But the AI system is pretty strong. It typically answers the right way. And if it doesn't, we tweak it. The company I particularly work with, I actually know the CEO pretty well. So I'm able to just text him. I'm like, hey, I need you to fix this for me. I just did that earlier today.
That's a convenience.
Yeah, so that's the convenient aspect of it. But, I got a little bit lucky there. But, I think AI, you do kind of have to realize that it requires giving it some knowledge, giving it some context. I think people who struggle with AI don't realize the power of prompt engineering, right? So you got to really give it a prompt. Not just send a quick, hey, do this for me. Yeah. No, hey, do this for me. Here's what I'm expecting. Here's what I don't want you to do. Here's where I want you to do some research. I want you to avoid these particular things. And that way your answer is curated to what you kind of want to see. People forget how important that step is.
Yeah, we use AI a lot in especially for our search engine optimization for things, whether or not it's even the show notes on this podcast, we're going to leverage AI. We're going to use ChatGPT. We have a very methodical way that we do that. We use something called the craft method. So we use context, role, action, format, and target audience. And we like you said, you really lay it up. And it's a nice long prompt that gives AI an understanding of, what's the overall context, what's my role, who am I in doing this action for somebody, what's the end result going to look like, and who am I doing it for? And being able to lay it up that way really gives you a much more powerful result that you have to still tweak along the way, because people do forget it's not an input-output system. It's a chat system. So you have to really go back and forth a little bit here and there.
100%.
But yeah. Well, cool. So what other trends do you think are happening in terms of marketing? As a digital marketer, primarily, because that's what I'm going to label you as. You're a digital marketer, and then you happen to be an amazing restaurant owner. But what trends do you see in digital marketing?
I honestly think you hit the nail on the head. I think the next phase is going to be businesses will market to particular people, to particular customers. Because AI is so powerful, like we're going to be able to get information that we need. For example, like I want to know what my customer, let's say James, he loves maybe like, McAllen 18, let's say, and he loves sitting at the bar and he loves ordering to go. And I think in the future, we're going to be able to use that information and have a particular profile and maybe have conversations with him that make it feel like, oh gosh, this restaurant cares about me. They know what I like. When I walk in, it's like, oh my gosh, the drink is already there because, just imagine my bartender got a notification or something like, hey, this particular customer loves Macallan 18, So I can imagine this personalization of things, this individual aspect that brands are going to start utilizing with their customers. And it's going to be amazing for everyone. Like, I wish some brands knew exactly what I wanted. Like, for one thing I'm struggling with right now personally is I'm not the best at like fashion. So like I want a particular outfit, but I just don't know how to shop for it. And I wish like Macy's, for example, could be like, here, let me do all the work. What about this outfit? Because it's able to use AI, but also their inventory to craft a perfect outfit for me. And I can just click add to cart and order it,
Nice. Like the Amazon of outfitting, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
have you tried this?
Yeah, I mean, I would love that.
Yeah,
I think people are going to like that.
I think you're right. Hyper-personalized marketing is going to be the way to go. And it used to be, historically in marketing, we'd look at something like building an avatar or a buyer persona, which is super risky because you could, potentially lose out on a much bigger client base. But this one, using client-driven data to make a hyper-personalized message and open up new offerings or, parallel offerings, increase that customer lifetime value. I think you're right. That's where it's going, for sure.
Yeah. I love the idea of providing value with marketing. That's something that like we're not trying to, and that's kind of why our Instagram is the way it is. Like my goal is for you to follow us because you're enjoying watching our content. Like we have people that are like, when are you posting next?
Yeah.
What are you going to post next? Like that makes me happy. And by the way, I don't spend any money on advertising because I had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
We very rarely will put money in our ads or our posts, and they still get, thousands of views. I think we just posted one that hit 100K on Instagram, and people came to the business and spent money from that. So we're in an interesting time where money doesn't necessarily have to be used. It's more just creativity.
Yeah, I think you're right. And especially if you're a business that operates on a very thin margin, if you're in an industry like that, you've got to safeguard, again, that capital. And I think, Gary Vee as a big, digital marketer, he's everywhere. If you don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, organic social. And the power behind that and the power to be able to just explode in terms of capturing a new audience and getting that message out there. You guys, Albi's Vitae, have, been able to do that very successfully. So I'm anxious to see, like your audience, what's up next.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. But any closing remarks from your end, Albi?
The biggest message I feel like is what I said in the very beginning, which is if you're feeling overwhelmed or you're like, gosh, this guy went to school for marketing. Of course, maybe he knows what he's talking about. It's more just like doing it. Just do it and just post. And it might be ridiculous. And guess what? You're going to get better. And then in a year or 2 years from now, you're going to thank yourself. So I just love the idea of doing things. I just started my own podcast. Hopefully I'm like you one day. It's Mid-Shift Crisis, at Mid-Shift Crisis on Instagram and all other platforms.
Awesome.
And we have 10 followers. All of them are my friends. So
you're going to have 11 at least after this podcast.
So
cool.
And I'm posting random videos. I'm not that happy about my videos. So I'm already experienced this feeling of like, oh gosh, I'm an imposter. What do I know? But you know what? I'm excited for next year. Hopefully Mid-Shift Crisis is still going and we'll see where we're at. So
what's your, do you have a niche or any type of topic that you really go into?
Yes, Mid-Shift Crisis is for a particular niche, very small market. It's for restaurant owners that have a few locations, one, maybe two, that are looking to get their life back and start systemizing and allowing themselves to grow.
Very cool. So one of the reasons that I love that is because it's got to be super rewarding for you because you are, in fact, solving a problem for somebody. So I love that.
It was my problem. That's why I love it.
Yeah,
it is rewarding.
And, someone told me, and I've seen it in other content as well, that if you have to get your reps in and you have to start creating content, you're not necessarily sure who you're making the content for. They say it's you 2+ years ago. Whatever problem you were going through then, that's your target audience and just start there. And I think that's what you're doing. So it sounds
Yeah.
super
Oh, I
cool.
love that.
Yeah,
It's
very
kind
nice.
of
Well, once
exciting.
again, Albi, thank you so much for joining us on While Supplies Last, and we'll be dropping this episode soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.